Y'all, I had to go to the hospital, okay? And don't nobody got time for that in this Vlogmas, okay? They told me that I went to urgent care and they told me I had an abnormal EKG. So they got to check further for stuff, if that makes sense. And now I'm on my way, or I was told to go to Howard County Hospital. Hey guys, and welcome back to Vlogmas. So, like I told you guys, I'm on vlog, the good, the bad, the ugly. I'm a vlog, okay? Because I got to give y'all this content. But I had to go to the hospital yesterday, okay? So let me start from the beginning, okay? First of all, I have problems with dizziness anyway. Like, that's something that I suffer with, and sometimes I'll have, stuff happen where I'm just dizzy and stuff like that. But yesterday started like a normal day. I was a little bit dizzy, and everything, but I did not feel well. Like, it was like a not really feeling well kind of day for me. But I had something that I had to do with my job. I had to go and get my new device from my main office, which is in Columbia. So I, was like, okay, it was raining outside. There was a lot going on outside. And I'm like, all right, but I'm going to push to just go there. And, sometimes I feel weird, but I be fine the rest of the day. So I just thought it was going to be a day like that, pretty much. So I'm driving and everything like that. I got to like the Laurel exit, Fort Meade, close to Fort Meade, Laurel. And I felt this sharpest pain right here in my throat area. And I'm like, okay. And then my chest started getting that same kind of pain. And then I realized that my heart was racing because I'm like, something is going on because I feel like I'm about to pass out. So what is going on? So I automatically starts panicking. If y'all don't know, I already suffer from anxiety. So for something like that to happen and you feel that pain in your throat and you feel it in your chest, you automatically thinking the absolute worst. And that's what I started to think. I'm like, oh my God, what is going on? So I'm like, I'm on 295. Now, if y'all know, 295 is literally 2 lanes and it's going one way. And it's like maybe a little space for you to pull off to the side. Not enough for your whole car to fit. So it's either you will be on the side of the road and not completely out the street, or you'll be on the grass, but you will have to drive up on the grass in order to be out of the way of the other cars. So I'm like, what am I going to do? What am I going to do? So I pulled to my nearest exit, which was Fort Meade. So I said, if I pull off, maybe it's a gas station or something, maybe they can call 911, somebody can call 911 or something. So I pulled to a Hyundai dealership, which was off of that Fort Meade exit. And I'm like panicking at this point because I'm like, oh my God, what is going on? Is this, I don't want to say the word because, you don't want to speak stuff like that. But I was thinking it was something that had to do with my heart. So I'm like, oh my God. So I pull in the parking lot. I call my fiance. I didn't call 911 right away because I have a tendency, like if I feel something, to just call. And I'm like, well, maybe it's not as bad as I think. I just have to get an aspirin. Like, that was my whole thing. Get an aspirin, because that's something that my mom always taught me. If you start feeling anything with your chest, take an aspirin. Take an aspirin. Like, that's what I was always taught. So I'm like, okay, let me get to this aspirin. so I could do that. So I was really trying to figure out, okay, let me get to a CVS. So I get back in my, because I got out of my car for a minute, because I'm like, if I pass out, somebody's going to see me. I wanted somebody to be able to see me. I want to be in plain sight. I don't want to be in my car and then that's it, you know? So I'm like, well, let me try to figure something out, because I'm like, this doesn't make sense. But then I'm like, okay. So I just kind of just started doing my breathing exercises and stuff, because again, I do suffer from anxiety. So sometimes breathing helps. So I'm like, okay, let me just calm down. Maybe that was just a little pain. The pain started subsiding a little bit. All right, Janice, calm down. You know, maybe this will go away. So then I got back in the car and I said, well, let me put in CVS, because like I said, if I can get an aspirin, I'm all right. So let me get this aspirin. So I'm driving. And I was driving the wrong way, because the GPS was saying CVS is the other way. So I'm like, let me turn around. So I drove, and when I drove over to the section over there, they were like, it started looking familiar to me. I'm like, okay. So I had pulled into the lower area. It started being like the Walmart. I remember the Walmart was over here. It was a Hobby Lobby over here. And it was a Patient First in that parking lot. I was like, thank you, Jesus. So they could probably give me an aspirin if I need an aspirin. You know what I'm saying? And they'll give it to me quick, and they can see me. You know what I'm saying? And make sure that I'm good. So I pull in there. I go to Patient First. And the lady kind of watches me. The nurse, she was in there. She was taking my vitals. She put the pulse ox on there. She said, your pulse is really high right now. Your blood pressure is okay. But then she took it again manually and realized it was high. It was like 191 over 101. I was like, Lord, that's high. So she was like, I'm going to monitor you, and I'm, be right here, but we're going to do your EKG. So I'm like, to make sure that you're not having the H word. And you guys know what it is. I'll put it at the bottom. Or you know what it is. I don't even want to put it nowhere near me, because I don't want none of it. Okay? I don't want any of it. So yeah, so I'm like, okay. So she does the EKG, and she was like, oh yeah, it looks all right to me. But I'm gonna let the doctor see it. So then the next thing you know, the doctor come back in there. And he was like, I want you to go to the hospital. And I'm like, wait a minute, what is going on? Like, what are you seeing? Like, what in the world? So my eyes automatically get this big, because I'm like, wait a minute. Like, for the doctor to come in and tell you to go to the hospital, what is it? And he was like, your EKG is abnormal. What now? I'm like, wait a minute. Like, did I just suffer that because that's why I was feeling the way I was feeling? Like, what is it, And he was like, I just want you to go, because they have further testing also. So just go and make sure that it's not the H word, okay? And I'm like, okay. So I get back in my car, because I'm like, okay, they got my heart rate down, which was good, and everything. So that was down, but I'm like, okay. So he was like, well, you can go to Howard County Hospital. He was like, that's closer to here. You're in Laurel, so you get there's about maybe 15 minutes away. So I'm like, all right. Now I'm by myself, so again, I'm in my car, and I'm like, okay, well, let me get over there, because that's what he told me to do. So I'm gonna go over there and get everything checked. So I went over there and went to Howard County Hospital, told them I had an abnormal EKG, and they was packed. I'm gonna tell y'all, most hospitals that you go to now is just, especially the ER, packed. Okay, it was so many people in there for so many different reasons and everything like that. They don't have enough beds to accommodate people. And that's something that really needs to be better, because people be sick. When they sick, they sick. And that's why they're there. So they should at least be able to lay down until y'all figure out what's going on. But let me tell y'all the process, okay? So I got in there. They signed me in. I sat down in the waiting room. They triaged me and everything. So they did my vitals and stuff like that. And they found that my pressure was actually like good. It was like 138 over 73, but it wasn't manual. So she told me at Patient First that the manual one is the more accurate one. Now, what is that telling y'all? So these people that have these home monitors at home and you taking your blood pressure, they're not accurate. But why sell us that if it ain't accurate? But that's a whole nother situation. And that just make you worry yourself because you just like, you don't know what's going on. Your blood pressure could be through the damn roof. And you wouldn't know because that's not the right cuff. If you don't know how to take it manually, it's not working for you. So I'm sorry. That's no here or there. I'm sorry. But that just pissed me off for her to say that to me. But anyway, so after they took my vitals and stuff, they were good. She took me back for an EKG, but nobody said anything about the results. Now, they do have a portal called My Chart that you can use. And, you know, they'll keep you updated on your test results and all that kind of stuff. So I did log into that and was able to do that. Now, mind you, that's not good for a person that has, that's a hypochondriac or a person that's, you know, because you're looking at every result and you're like, well, what does this mean? If you don't know what it means, you're looking it up. Oh, what does that say? Oh, what does that say? So I did that for a minute. I said, Janice, just stop it. So then in the back, she told me, she said, we're going to do a 3-part blood test and this will show whether or not you're having a heart attack. So I'm like, okay. So every hour for 3 hours straight, they was drawing my blood. Now, I already had the IV in my arm, so it was just them bending my arm down, putting the blood in the little syringe things, and that was it. And they were testing and stuff like that, so they did that 3 times. And then they set me out in the waiting room. So I was in the lobby again. So they would draw my blood, send me out in the lobby, draw my blood, send me back into the lobby, draw my blood, send me back into the lobby. Take me to x-ray, send me back to the lobby. So I never got to a room, literally. They did not have any rooms available, and they said that off bump. It will be hours before you get a room. So I'm like, okay. So all of that. So then she finally, all of a sudden, a lady called me, and she was like, Janice, so I'm thinking that they were going to take my blood again. Hell, I didn't know. I've been out there for almost like 3 or 4 hours. So I'm like, okay. So she calls me back into the triage area. And now the doctor was there to see me at the triage area. And she was like, well, the good thing is you did not have a heart attack. I said, thank you, Jesus. Okay. She was like, but your blood test shows that you are extremely anemic. I said, Lord Jesus, which I kind of had an inkling because I have a very heavy menstrual because I have fibroids. So I don't know if it's getting, she said it's definitely getting lower than what it was, which is probably what caused you a lot of problems now. So I'm like, okay. So she was like, yeah. So she said, you definitely need to figure out if they're going to take them out, take the fibroids out, or whatever they're going to do. Y'all need to start planning that because it is causing your blood to get lower than normal. She said it's not as low as for that you would need a transfusion, but it is low. Like it was 12 at first and now it's at a 10. So she was like, I don't want it to get past a 7 because then you will have to get a blood transfusion, but you really need to figure out what you're going to do with those fibroids so that you're not bleeding as heavy. So I'm like, okay. So I never looked up anemia or being anemic, but it says right here, what are some of the symptoms, or what are the symptoms of anemia? Extreme tiredness. I have been fatigued. Okay. Now my period is on now, which is probably what the problem was and why all of that kind of tied together. But extreme tiredness, weak, pale skin, shortness of breath, feeling dizzy or faint. I've been feeling dizzy for the past couple of days, okay? Fast and irregular heartbeat. My heart rate was like 138. And I was sitting. It wasn't like I was running or walking or anything. 138 and I was sitting. Trouble doing normal amounts of activities. Yes, it's a problem. Yellowing of your eyes, skin, mouth, or dark urine. Headaches, cold hands and feet. Chest pains and pounding or whooshing sounds in your ear. I had almost, I would say, out of 10 of those symptoms, I had I had 10 out of 12 of those symptoms. And I'm like, and I did not know why. I said, Lord, what is going on with me? Am I sick? I didn't know what was going on, but that will make you feel like that. So I'm like, I don't know, but I definitely got to work on those fibroids, figuring out what I'm going to do with them because it is starting to get ridiculous. And the amount of blood that I lose is terrible. And the amount of pads that I go through is costing me. Okay? And I know that that's TMI, y'all. Okay, it's TMI, but that was the reason why I had to go to the hospital. Okay? So, like I said, you just never know what's going to happen, and you just got to be ready for whatever's going to happen. And like I said, I'm going to bring content to y'all. Like I said, good, bad, and ugly. Y'all going to see everything. 25 days, you're bound to see something, okay? You're bound to see just everything, okay? And you're bound to hear everything, you know? So, all right, thank you guys so much for watching and listening to me. You know, if you guys want to put well wishes at the bottom, I'm still recovering actually because I'm still weak. Like I'm still feeling dizzy. I'm still like, it still did not go away. She did tell me to take the iron. I took the iron supplements, but it's definitely something that I have to continue to work on. So thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys tomorrow. Bye.